All aboard our tin can escape pod, and we've just entered an asteroid field in outer space. Hopefully we don't get too much damage. If you do get damage, you'll notice that there's going to be some pretty loud bangs, so just be ready for that. Oh, and there we go, there's our first bang. What I might do is just try turning it off and on again, as you do, because that normally fixes everything, right? There we go, it's worked. Okay, something's on fire. Okay. Well, I guess we better put the fire out because reasons. That's better. And we've got a little hole which we need to plug as well. And just put some putty on that. Excellent. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video I thought we'd take a first look at Tin Can. Now this game came out recently, only a few months back in May, and the basic premise of the game is basically you always start off escaping your mothership. You're in outer space and you have to basically enter your escape pod, okay? And the whole game is basically centered around leaving in the escape pod, as we're doing here. As you can see, I'm just showing you little snippets of the game. You basically get shot out of your mothership and your mothership explodes behind you. And yeah, that's how the game starts. Basically, you then have to survive in this tiny little escape pod which you've been flung out into space in. Okay, so it may look like there's not much happening right now, but basically there's all sorts of things that can go on. You do have to manage a whole plethora of systems like your rescue beacon to ensure that you eventually get rescued. You've got your oxygen levels, oxygen systems and carbon dioxide systems to manage as well. When you're on board, you're going to swap out, you have to swap out all the oxygen bottles and things like that, replace them, keep tabs on all that sort of stuff. And it's actually very realistic in the way that systems are modeled. You have to manage your oxygen levels properly and the temperatures of the actual escape pod and all that sort of thing. You've got your CO2 scrubbers and all that kind of thing. You've got pumps and fuses and all this kind of stuff that's within your different systems within the escape pod. So we'll be going through all of this in more detail anyway in just a moment. But I just thought I'd give you a quick little preview of what this game's all about. You can actually have access to this awesome little technical manual, which is quite detailed, but it doesn't have any procedural information in it. It basically just tells you how systems work. And as you can see here, all sorts of things can go wrong. So things can catch on fire, and you can really get into strife as well if you don't manage things properly. And yeah, if you mismanage your oxygen and carbon dioxide levels because of faults, you can get all sorts of issues going on as well. And really, the worst case scenario is that you actually can die in the game as well. So it's a little bit anxiety inducing, I must say, when you're kind of trying to throw parts together and swap parts, you know, faulty parts with working parts to try and keep systems moving. But yeah, the simulation of dying as well, like you can get breathless and all that kind of stuff as you try and manage your oxygen levels and all that sort of stuff. There's also the possibility of electrocuting yourself as well, so don't go yanking on random electrical bits here and there as well, because that will obviously kill you as well. But yes, if you do everything right, this is basically what you end up with. You end up getting rescued, and there's your little pod there on the left hand side, getting rescued. Okay, so that's how the game, basically that's how you succeed in the game. But what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and boot up into one of the challenges here. Now there's a number of different challenges. There's the rescue mode, there's a sandbox mode as well, but I'm just going to do this no touching challenge, as it's called here. And basically what happens is, when you select the challenge, obviously you get that animation where you have to escape your mothership. But in each challenge, basically there's a certain thing that can go wrong. Like you could fly into an asteroid field or an electrical nebula, which is like an electrical thunderstorm. And each of those things that happen affect your ship differently. Okay, you could have holes punched in it. You could have electrical systems failures and all that different kind of thing. So even though the events are fixed, the failures that can come out of it though are still quite random, so that's really cool. So anyway, let's go ahead and just boot up into the challenge. Okay, so basically we have to escape the mothership as usual at the beginning of each scenario in this game. Normally you can get some parts from the shelves, but in this particular challenge I found that there was no parts to get from the mothership, so we'll just have to go into the escape pod empty-handed and see what destiny has in store for us this time around. Okay, now things are going to move fast here, so I'll try and keep up, okay? Okay, so you start off, basically that little dialing sound is your rescue beacon, and okay, there should be a countdown timer on that. What I might do is just try turning it off and on again, as you do, because that normally fixes everything, right? There we go, it's worked. So now our rescue beacon is running, and we've got basically 9 minutes and 30 seconds to survive aboard this escape pod before we are rescued, okay? You can see here there's a bunch of components, power connectors and batteries and things like that. You've got all sorts of componentry behind these systems. You've got processors and things like that. I'm not going to touch any of these right now because everything is fine. Some of these you can get electrocuted, as I did mention and show before, if you do touch the wrong thing. Here we have our liquid nitrogen cooling units, which basically cools down your pod. You have a miniature atomic reactor which produces heat and power, so you need to cool. And the liquid nitrogen bottle feeds coolness into the pod. Okay, all aboard our tin can escape pod, and we've just entered an asteroid field in outer space. So yes, that's our first event. So we're just going through some asteroids here. Hopefully we don't get too much damage, because that would be a shame. Now, if you do get damage, you'll notice that there's going to be some pretty loud bangs, so just be ready for that. And any number of random failures can result each time some damage is taken. So, oh, and there we go, there's our first bang. Okay, and there's our first little chime, which indicates that one of our systems has thrown a warning, low pump. Okay, that means that the pump is not working in our cooling units. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. What I'm going to do first is you do need to keep an eye on your oxygen levels and replace your oxygen and CO2 tanks when they are no longer fit for purpose. Whoops. And that's just thrown the tank out of my hands. So your CO2 tank will generally increase as you go. You'll need to swap that out with an empty tank. And your oxygen tank will deplete, and you'll need to swap that with a full tank. Okay, we've still got a low pump issue on our cooling unit. So we've got our master caution on, which is our amber light, which means that things aren't looking too good. We can see here that the temperature of the escape pod is rising a bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We may have to swap out the pump with one of the pumps. Oh boy, okay. We keep getting more and more damage. Okay, we're up to 28 degrees Celsius inside the pod, so our pump clearly is not working. Okay, so it's throwing us a bit of a curveball here. I think we're going to have to change out the pump. Suddenly eerily quiet, but we are in the eye of the storm. If we don't change that pump, we are going to cook in here. It's getting warm. What I might do is just take the pump out of this pressure generator. Yep, okay. The cooling unit is now not happy at all, so we are in the master warning. I'm trying to turn off this pressure generator so I can swap the pump out. What I might do is just take the pump from the carbon dioxide scrubber and where's the cooling unit? Turn off the cooling unit, grab the faulty pump from here, leave it on the workbench, and put the good pump into the cooling unit. And see, the error list is now gone, so the pump is now working because we swapped it with a working one. And our temperature should be coming back down now. 30 degrees, yep, and dropping. Our master warning will just keep going on because it's still elevated. But once our temperature comes back, we should be fine. So we've just fixed the cooling unit. Yay! Okay, we're flying through another asteroid field, so yeah. Let's put the faulty pump into the carbon dioxide scrubber and just see what it can do for us. Probably not much. Yeah, now you can see that the carbon dioxide scrubber's complaining because we've just put the faulty pump into that. So we'll probably have to take this faulty pump back out and swap it with another one from another system. Okay, so pod atmospheric temperature is within limits. Breathability has dropped a bit on the scale, but we're still breathing fine. But CO2 is rising. Oh boy, something else just has taken damage just now, without a doubt. Now we're gonna have to do something about this pump. I don't know why the repair station is throwing a caution. But basically the amber master caution will come on first for a system. And then master warning if things get worse. I've just noticed here my timer has frozen on the rescue beacon, which is not good. And I suspect that it's the data connector that's not quite working right. So what I might do actually is take a data connector from another system. So I don't think there's one in the lighting units, but maybe I'll take the data connector from the pressure generator. Oops, not the on and off switch. The data connector. Okay, so that's the good data connector from the pressure generator. And I'm just going to chuck that into, turn off the rescue beacon, and take the faulty data connector out of the rescue beacon. Drop that down, get the good data connector, and whoops, drop that too. Put that in. Okay, so now we've got a good data connector. So yeah, look at that. Now the timer's working properly. Okay, so now we've got this bad data connector. I'm just going to go ahead and chuck that into the carbon dioxide scrubber. Oh man, okay, the carbon dioxide scrubber's got its own problems now as well. So the air filter does get clogged up, so that does need to be cleaned. And you can see our carbon dioxide levels have elevated, which is not good. That pump really needs to come out of the CO2 scrubber there. Oxygen levels are still okay, they're around 20%. Alright, let's put that crappy, oops, sorry, hang on. Oh boy. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to swap these pumps around as well, because the pump, I think, in the CO2 scrubber was not happy. And to be honest, we shouldn't have put the faulty pump into the CO2 scrubber. That should be, yeah, now we've restored functionality to our CO2 scrubber. And again, we've got this problem child pump, which is now being moved for the second time into, it's just ended up in the pressure generator now. So, and I'm about to put the faulty data connector into the pressure generator as well. So, feels like the pressure generator is the least important system right now. And we've got, yeah, you can see the gibberish now on the screen on the little CRT monitor because it's got a faulty data connector. And it's also got that faulty pump in it as well. So happy days, I guess. Not. The important thing is our CO2 and oxygen generators are functioning just fine, which is the most critical, I guess. So you really got to think fast in this game, and there's never a dull moment. Okay, I'm just going to bring down the main generator. So this is where all our electricity comes from. This is the atomic reactor pile. So this is very dangerous. And I can see it's got a master caution on there because the CRT monitor is no longer working. So let's grab a working monitor, put it on the bench, take out the faulty monitor, put it into a different system, and put a good monitor into the atomic pile. There you go. I've now fixed the atomic pile, and I can send that back to where it lives. So our ambient temperature is fine. We keep getting pummeled by these asteroids. It's very annoying. I hope that we don't lose any more parts or damage too many more parts, because yeah, we've been moving around a few broken bits and pieces to the less important systems, but I do worry about the pressure in this pod. So breathability's up, we're nice and cool inside the pod, and oxygen levels are fine. Oh, I just got another warning chime from somewhere. Oh, okay, something's on fire. Okay. Well, I guess we better put the fire out because reasons. Being on fire is probably not the best thing. That's better. Oh, it's all been happening so far in this trip on our little spacecraft, and we've got a little hole which we need to plug as well. And just put some putty on that. Excellent. Everything is fine. Not really, but I think we're alive for now at least, so just gonna have to see how we go. Let's turn off that master caution now that we've fixed the monitor. And we've got a minute and 30 left, minute and 35 and counting down. So only a minute to go-ish, so we shouldn't be... I think everything's under control, I must say. So this has been quite a bit of fun indeed. So this no touching challenge, I must say I've played it probably 2 or 3 times so far. And I think this is like my 3rd time I've played this challenge. And I must say it's never been the same. Even though it's the same asteroid field, I think there is a lot more replayability in this game than some people realize. That because I noticed in the reviews on Steam that people were complaining about the replayability aspect, but I don't see that as an issue here because you've got so many things that can go wrong. You've got switches and data connectors and CRT monitors. They can all fail in all these different systems. So I'm just pressing the button there for the escape pod. That's obviously not functional right now. So yeah, no errors. Oh, what's that? We got an error on... Oh yes, we've got an empty bottle in our oxygen generator. Let's go ahead and just replenish our oxygen supply there. There we go. And then recharge our depleted oxygen in our charger.
Harry, can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
It's me. I'm aboard the rescue ship. We're almost there. Just
Excellent.
keep your beacon online a few more seconds so we don't lose you. We're going to bring you home, alright?
And just as we enter another asteroid field, but that's fine. We're almost home. Only about 5 seconds to go. So that's it. I think we have succeeded here. So here's our little rescue animation. So we have done it. So I really hope you have all enjoyed this first little look at Tin Can. This is an awesome little game. I'm really enjoying it. It is an indie game, I think, from the looks and just the feel of the game as well. It's only a small development team as far as I understand, but oh, it's so great. I look forward to just sort of diving back into some of these other challenges. And there are other features of the game as well, not just the challenges itself, but also you've got here the tutorial, and that talks about all your vitals, your power management, failures and diagnostics. It goes into quite a bit of detail. Now, the meat and potatoes of the game is the rescue mode here, which basically you can try your hand at surviving for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and then 30 minutes, okay? And basically it's not just asteroid fields that you'll get thrown. You'll get thrown like nebulas, like electrical storms, and there's 5 different events that can occur. We just tasted one, which was the asteroids, but yeah, there's all these different failures that can happen, as you can imagine. So you can enter the sandbox mode here. There's the relay station, which we haven't looked at yet. We were just in the Medusa, but yeah, that's just a quick taste anyway, guys. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Please remember to like the video if you did like it. It does help with the YouTube algorithm for me. Really appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't already, if you enjoyed this kind of content. And I look forward to catching you all in the next video.